So I'll jump in. The first segment we cover is functional beverages. And functional beverages are a really interesting category because they're growing so quickly lately, but a lot of people don't really know what a functional beverage is in its totality. And so a quick definition, functional beverages are beverages that have these extra benefits for your health. So whether it's an energy boost or it gives you the protein after a workout, like a coffee that does that, or it provides these mental benefits, which we'll call nootropics in this presentation. A functional beverage provides these functional benefits. So the first thing when exploring the functional beverage category, we wanted to understand what are the leading categories inside of it? What are those forms? How are people looking to consume functional beverages in the future? Here we can see that soft drinks and soda is a huge opportunity right now. The growth is over 30% year on year in user conversations and user interest, consumer interest. And because it makes up such a large portion of that consumer interest today, more than 6%, it's a very, very high opportunity to look into for future development. Coffee as well, coffees with these extra benefits, like coffee with protein. This is a really quickly growing segment inside functional beverages, as well as water. Water is probably one of the ones that people know the most, these enhanced waters that have these, aloe vera benefit or these extra benefits inside the enhanced waters. But it's still growing really, really quickly in user interest, around 27% year on year. Meanwhile, smoothies is a bit of a less growing category. We see it declining actually in user interest, about 37%. So here, our software identified it as a very low interest category to invest further in. Another thing that we did here is we analyzed the benefits. So why are people consuming functional beverages? What is it that drives them into the category? What causes them to both trial and repurchase different products in the category? And here we've seen skincare. This was the most surprising insight in the whole section for us, was that skincare is a huge, huge growing segment of functional beverages. So there's a whole array of beverages that have collagen as an additive, or they help you get vitamin D, and they provide these skincare benefits to have healthier skin, healthier hair, and so on. Another area we saw was declining on the opposite side is nootropics. Nootropics is a really interesting category because it's not existing it's larger in functional beverages than in most adjacent categories. And we see in functional beverages, it makes up 10% of the consumer interest volume, but it's declining 13% year on year. And the other area was energy. Energy, we're seeing this decline, but significantly, it's a large part of the functional beverage category. So as we dive in, we can see brands like Flow, Prescription, Sway, and Driftwell are these emerging brands that are really pushing forward the functional beverage category. And while skincare, again, Flow is focused on these having collagen as an ingredient or as an additive to the product to help you get better skin. For wellness, we see products that are created by nutritionists, products that enhance your well-being and enhance your overall health. In energy, we see these natural energy drinks that are also discussing immunity and immunity benefits like Sway. And in nootropics, recently, we've seen, for example, Pepsi launching Driftwell, which it's a still water beverage that is focused on relaxing and removing stress from consumer minds. So we're going to jump into this as one of the areas we're going to analyze, which is nootropics inside functional beverages. So in other words, how do consumers use functional beverages to help them, boost mental performance or improve things like reducing stress and anxiety? So the first thing here we can see is, what are consumers actually looking for from these nootropic beverages? When they purchase these beverages, we see that they're purchasing them to support sleep, to reduce stress and anxiety, promote relaxation. These are three topics that have grown immensely since COVID has really taken over. People are sleeping with worse quality, they're more stressed out, they're more anxious, and they're having a harder time relaxing. So it makes a lot of sense that these are some of the highest interest rate benefits in the nootropics functional beverage area. We also see boosting energy as a big one, which we thought was interesting because the large amount of share it already has. So it already takes up 48% of consumer mentions around functional beverages with nootropic benefits. And when it's growing 51% year on year at that large of a volume, it's a really significant thing. One of the questions we wanted to answer as well is, what consumer psychographics should a nootropic beverage target? And so we looked and we found that vegan is one of the big psychographic targets that nootropic beverages are performing very, very well with, growing really quickly, although it's still a small base, but with 425% year-on-year growth, it's very, very promising. Keto is another one, and we'll talk about this in the keto snacks section a little bit more, but it's interesting to see that keto consumers on the keto diet are using beverages to try and supplement these vitamins that they're not getting elsewhere. And in weight loss, as another psychographic, it's growing again 34% year on year and makes up a large amount of those conversations at 27% plus. One of the things we notice is that nootropic beverages heavily skew male, and the growth rate for male using nootropic functional beverages is really high at 18%. And we wanted to know what ingredients, if you are to make a nootropic functional beverage, should you focus on? So we analyzed the opportunity score for the different ingredients inside nootropic functional beverages. And we noticed matcha, ginger, and green tea among the best of the best in the category. On the other side, we saw lime and magnesium as performing not too well compared to the rest, and especially magnesium, where it makes up a very small amount of conversations, yet it's still declining in the frequency we see it on the consumer's mindset. So that's a lot of data. And one of the questions that ultimately comes is, what can we do with that data? How do we turn that into products? So we're not concept experts. We're very focused on the ideation stage, but we came up with a couple rough examples of concepts to help you visualize, okay, I have the data, but now what do I do? So the first concept we came up with was sleep support for new keto dieters. We saw an uptick in sleep problems with people who are just starting the keto diet because their carbohydrates often at the beginning of the process, when you cut them out, you have a little bit harder time falling asleep, staying asleep. So this was one concept idea. Sleep support for new keto dieters. The second concept idea we came up with was anti-anxiety matcha iced tea for office/work anxiety. People are about to go back to work in the office, whether it's in a few months or shorter, longer, depends where you are. But there's a lot of anxiety among people today, as well as surveys show that people going back to the office, they're very, very, very nervous about this and stressed out about when they go back, these new types of requirements, whether it's the commute or it's the disturbances or just the change of environment. And so with matcha growing really quickly and anti-anxiety is one of the largest growing benefits, we just put together this concept idea as a way you could extrapolate all that data.